What's up guys, I'm Elliot. We are here in Apache Junction and this is just a quick tour of my van. With designing this area right here, I've always wanted a space that people can hang out, have a good time, but also have space for storage and other necessities. So the general couch setup was perfect. So right up top, I have extra storage up here. So some pants, other winter gear. I cut my own hair, as you might be able to tell. And then over here is just more sweaters and some other gear as well as some books. I absolutely love movies, so right under here is just a projector so I can project on the white wall of my van, or I can take it outside and it's battery powered and we can project and watch a movie, play games outside in someone's van. Super convenient. So the box cubbies I got just at a general Target. Target or Walmart or just any big box store. The way I got them to fit was a little bit tricky. I actually cut them down and resewed the size to make them the exact length that I wanted to. And they're absolutely perfect for what I need them to be. They don't look the best, but as a utility, they're really well. I can just bring them out, put them back in whenever I need to. Super convenient. Yeah, so actually all the material in here is all 3/4 inch plywood. On the outside, it is all laminated with white. Just having a white build, it gets dirty very, very easily, so being able to just wipe it down with a melamine sponge or even just a washcloth cleans it off really well, really quick compared to white paint, which is stain stick to everything. And then everything around here is just a matching walnut panel. So the theme around here is just, as you can tell, sage green, walnut, and white. And I tried to get it to match as much as possible. The hinges actually are something else that I haven't seen too much around, are these spring hinges. In my experience, the gas struts always have broken for me. So these problems have been solved on boats for years, and boats have just the nautical spring hinges that you just break the tension and it holds it open perfectly. So you can break the tension and push it back down and it works out just fine. With the storage areas underneath that, after being on the road for about 1.5 years, I realized I needed more storage for charging things. So I have just a power block up there and can bring these down whenever I need to and just charge some extra camera gear. I can charge whatever else in there just by running the wire into there and putting it up instead of having a bunch of wires on my couch the whole day. Having a magnetically seat has been super nice, and also I just have some extra magnetic film lights that I can stick on there for quick access, and it's been super convenient. I built everything in here, and sewing was my worst activity, my worst talent. So I just went with some classic Amazon covers. Right under it had to be built up just so it could fit the actual fridge and freezer section. So right here is the Dometic 95 CFX. It's one of the biggest ones they have with the dual zone. So it has my fridge side as well as my freezer side, just on 500-pound drawer slides, and that can pull out and in, and I have a foot lock for that, so it never comes out when I'm driving. Looking back at it now, it's a lot bigger than I really needed it. The first time I went into the store, I called up a friend, I was like, hey, I think I just made a mistake and got way too many groceries, especially for the fridge and freezer. Then came back, put it all in, and I still had half the space left. So it's been super nice. I can go about 3 weeks without having to go grocery shopping with dry storage and wet storage. Has been super incredible. Power draw hasn't really been an issue for me since I do have such a big battery system. When the compressor is on, it pulls anywhere between 5 and 6 amps per hour, so that can be a lot, but that only powers on and off every once in a while. It just cycles through, so I haven't seen too big of a problem. I also like to keep it colder than normal just so my food doesn't go bad, and if I did have a problem with how much power it pulled, I could just up the temperature slightly. But I've loved it. It's been great. I'm very happy I chose this fridge. Having it just me and my dog in here it's a slightly too big for me, but when I do plan on selling it and building something out, this rig is perfect for 2 people and a dog, or however much space you want to have for your food. It's nice to not have to run to the store every single day. Moving over slightly to the left is some more storage. I used to have a custom built composting toilet in here, but it just took up too much space. I realized the longer I've been in the van, the more outdoor activities and outdoor sports I've gotten into. So if I move that up, just right here, I now just have the Go Anywhere toilet and 2 storage boxes, one for my dog, one for more camera gear, and then just stuff for the toilet, and then some shoes down there as well. One of the best solutions to keeping your cabinets closed while driving are magnetic baby locks. So basically, if you have a magnet, it comes with some, but they're ugly and I kept losing them. So I made my own that just kind of match the theme of the van, that sit on this bolt right here. And then when I move it up an inch, it will open it, it'll unlock the door. And then if I don't move it at all, it's just not gonna open at all. As we move on to the kitchen section, it was very important to me to have a very big sink. So I went with the classic Farmhouse style. It was one of the biggest ones that I could find on Amazon that was still not like too big. It's still a residential size. It's perfect for me, especially since I have so much counter space. I didn't really need more. But when I had more, when I wanted more, I just have the flip up cutting board, as well as all of these mats that kind of fit on it so that I don't have to mix different foods together. Just sits up there nicely, and it's a lot easier to actually clean than the actual cutting board. And when I'm done, I can just put them right in the slot. With the sink, I have about 30 gallons of fresh water, and it'll last me about 30 days because of something I added onto the edge of the sink. On here is an aerator nozzle, so I can fill up water bottles when I need to, or if I spin this around, it'll mist the water. So I use that for washing dishes, washing my hands, anything that I don't need to fill up. Like if I fill it, I'll use the other setting for water bottles or cooking or anything like that. But that saves so much of my water every single time. It's been a lifesaver. So I don't actually use this for a shower. Sometimes I'll wash my hair in the sink just because it's convenient and out of the way. On the back of the van, I do have a shower hose that I can hook up to the mirrors in the back that I can just open up, put out a curtain, and shower back there when it's nice out. But I also have memberships to different gyms and stuff like that whenever the weather is not permitting for an outdoor shower. So the aerator is called the altered nozzle. It's literally just this nozzle right here that has multiple attachments that can connect it to almost any faucet. I found it a couple years ago when I was looking at building out vans with friends, and then forgot about it until I finally bought my van and then did my water system. And I've had probably 8 or 9 people ask me what this is, and I send them a link every time. It's very, very popular. Underneath the sink is, I have 2 doors right out here. I can open them up. On the right side, my trash pulls out, and on the left side, I do have 2 bins that I can also access on the other side. In the bins are just cleaning supplies, extra little bits of storage, and a medical kit. The other thing under here is probably the most convenient thing I have in here is the pee funnel. Instead of having to run out to the bathroom anytime, if I'm in the middle of nowhere, I can just whip it out and go to the bathroom. Super convenient. Just drains right through the floor. That also has access right on the other side, so if I need to clean in there or bring other stuff out, I can bring it out on the other side, and it's just a nice through passage. Right up top is a custom lighting system that I saw online, so I decided to give it a little bit of a copy and see if I can improve on it a little bit. With these LED strips, they're actually 6500K LED strips, since I do shoot video in here, and they're on a voltage dimmer so that when you dim the lights, it doesn't flicker on camera, which is super convenient for shooting inside or outside. And they go very bright, so if I'm shooting inside with a little bit of an outdoor shot, there's not such a difference of dynamic range. I was going to have different settings for the front and the back, but with how much they dim and how adjustable they are, I didn't really need that. It's a really big staple and statement piece for the van. It's one of the first things people notice is how bright it is in here and how it actually just looks good and isn't the typical LED puck lights. Right now the lights are pulling 6.5 amps of power, so if I didn't have such a massive power system, I would be struggling quite a bit with that, but since I have something decent, I don't have to worry about it at all. Getting on the road is kind of a no-brainer for me. Before van life, I was a trip leader for a cross-country bike ride, so I was just kind of choosing any job I could that would allow me to travel for work. And I've always done video for like the last probably 7 or 8 years, and transitioning to that for a mobile mindset and traveling and doing it on the road was so easy that it just made sense to try and get into a van or get into other ways of traveling and figure it out. And after looking at it for a while, this is what I came up with. I loved the build process. I've always loved making things. So I wanted to make something bigger, but that wasn't quite like just hanging drywall for 8 hours a day. So this was just the perfect kind of big enough project that it was long-term, short enough project that it was always interesting, and just weird enough to keep me interested. And as soon as I started looking at vans and all the different options and what I could do to them and other builds, I was just hooked, and it just sent me on the road, and I've just met so many incredible people. I've been on the road for just about 1.5 years now. I bought the van September of 2019, so I got super lucky with the pricing on that right before COVID. Built it, took a little bit of extra time to build it out, took way too many breaks, and then finally hit the road about August of 2020. With the kitchen space, I wanted to be as big as possible, so I have just all my food storage is up top. Same thing, we have the same springs right up top. This one is locked just because I do keep some bowls in here as well, ceramic bowls. So it's dinner stuff, then lunch, and then breakfast or snacks, and then just everyday use condiments and stuff like that. Right under that, this was actually an addition after I built out my van. I went on about a 3-month road trip and figured out what I liked and what I didn't like, and this is what I added. So over here is just kind of the throwaway. If I ever need to put something somewhere, this is where it goes, and then I'll organize it later. So I have like my phone, chargers, wallet, glasses, keys, camera gear that I try and use every day. And then this, when I slide it around, it has my Keurig in here. In the mornings, I'm basically just a potato and don't want to do anything, so the Keurig has been absolutely prime. A blender, and then also a waffle maker that someone's using right now. Right next to that is my fold-down induction cooktop. When building out the van, I knew I didn't want any kind of propane in here, especially since I intentionally put in a large battery system. But I saw the biggest problem was that people were cracking their induction cooktops from things falling onto it. So I decided to figure out a way to have it fold up and fold down very easily and lock away when I'm driving or not using it. Behind that is just more spices and condiments, so just super helpful when I'm cooking, just to have everything in one spot. Before I had this here, I just had a little bit of a backsplash, and I just wanted something that could be more of a centerpiece of art, and I wanted to try and work with resin and woodworking. I've always been a little bit inclined with woodworking and stuff, but I really just wanted to test out how I could really push it. So I found Tambour doors online. It's basically just doors that fold around a track, but I've never seen it done with resin. So after seeing multiple plans, I just made a plan, poured 1 or 2 big resin slabs, or 1 resin slab with 2 walnut pieces, and cut it in half. And then after that, I routed out a track for this whole thing to run on, cut this into slits, and then lined the whole thing. I lined the back of it with fabric and glued it on, so that allows it to effortlessly fold around and look absolutely incredible. I think it still looks great. It's probably one of the biggest things that people compliment in the van, which is very nice. My hard work went to something good. And then this right here was just seeing if I could continue it and make the resin river longer, and it just happened to work out after a lot more planning than I'd care to admit. Moving down a little bit farther, right down here is a pull-out eating area, as well as my junk drawer. Everyone needs a junk drawer. Mine's always very messy. Right under that is another staple to my build. I am famously not that good of a cook or that fond of cooking, so having a microwave and convection oven, also it's a grill, it says, has been a lifesaver. Most of my meals these days are frozen and then cooked in the microwave, which I hate to admit, but for me, I'd rather hang out with friends or get a project done than like spend 30 minutes cooking. So having the microwave has been indispensable. I don't think I'll run into any problems. It's been really convenient to have. Right under that is a drawer for my pots and pans. So it's actually a double drawer. This one opens to my pots and pans, and then another one pulls out just for other cooking utensils. Right next to that, I had an awkward bit of 3 inches of space. So I made this really long drawer. So on the top is my silverware, below that is a full knife block, and then below that is my plates. When I designed this space, I wanted it to be as multifunctional as possible. The garage and the stable bed just wasn't for me. I wanted to be able to do everything I needed to and have as much space as possible. So when I built this, I went with the Murphy bed setup, which allows me to have 9 feet of counter space, and I can use that for anything from cooking to work or any activity, and then if it gets late, I can just toss all my stuff on the couch. With that design, I put down mirrors behind us as well as medicine cabinets, which is great for storage as well as just makes the space seem a lot bigger. And then, as you can tell, I don't have any windows in here. That was very intentional because when I first started on the road, I was told I'd just be staying in Walmart parking lots the whole time. So I just kind of figured the best view would be up. And so having the skylight right above the head of the bed has been super convenient. I can open it up and it brings in a ton of air, as well as I can clip on a fan to it and push air in and out. I also have a blackout curtain and a bug screen that attach right to it. So if I'm sleeping in a parking lot, I can block out all the lights, make it almost completely pitch black in here and sleep through anything. As well as when it's really buggy out, I can close that and open the windows and still have airflow through the van. When designing the build, I was looking at the fans, seeing that there were mixed reviews on all of them, and then I found Dometic makes skylights. And that was a very pivotal moment in looking into that, except everyone that I could find was somewhere in Europe. So it was kind of a pain to get it over here. I think I bought it on eBay, got it shipped over here with freight, and there was still a crack in it, so I had to send it back and get a new one. So the whole process actually took like 5 or 6 weeks to get it in, but I wouldn't change this for the world. If I ever build out another van, I'm going directly for the skylight again instead of a fan. Installing it is exactly the same. I will say it's a little bit more nerve-wracking cutting a 2 foot by 3 foot hole in your roof for a new van, but if you caulk it properly and just do it right, I have had no leaks in it so far. This was one of the first things I did in the van, and it's been absolutely flawless since. Moving towards the back of the van, I really needed some kind of stable workspace, and this is what worked out for me. So on the right side of the van, I just have a pull-out ultra-wide monitor with a custom-built desktop PC back there. Then I can pull out some 500-pound drawer slide seats and then another work tray. This setup was mainly designed for editing video on the road, and I do have a laptop and a tablet for some of the more administrative work. So this spot is mainly for heavy editing. I have the graphics card for it, I have the computer for it. It takes a lot of power to do, but whenever I have big editing jobs, I'll sit here, get work done for hours at a time. But if it's just more admin work that I need to send out emails and stuff, I can hang out on my couch or outside with my laptop and get work done as well. So this spot has been really, really convenient for sitting down, strapping in, and getting work done when I really need to. Sitting here really allows me to focus on work and nothing else, compared to like hanging out with friends outside and answering emails and stuff like that. So this was a very convenient solution. Part of the whole design of the van, making the upper space larger than the lower space, was having these slanted drawers behind me, which allows me to have a backrest and make it very comfortable to sit here. And it's also my clothing. So I have shorts here, pants, shirts, and other stuff down here in all of the drawers. Main closet is right behind me. It's all the storage I've ever needed for clothes, and I have winter gear up on the roof. So right next to me is a seat for eating. So I have the eating tray that just pulls out. When I have all the seats out, I can comfortably fit at least 9 people in here. 2 people can fit on each of these 500-pound drawer slides. There's 2 of those, enough on the couch, and then also have seating outside under the awning. I had to be very intentional with the way I built this van, because working from home, I kind of expected that I wouldn't get any work done, and designing it so intentionally where I have a workspace, I have a space for each individual thing that I want to do, has helped me tremendously and has gotten me to be more productive than I have in any other job. It's doing photo and video work is a job that I love. I've never been bored doing it, and if it is, I just pick up another project with a different company. And being able to have such a variety in that one little set has just skyrocketed my productivity and being able to create content and enjoy doing it. One of the great things that has surprised me about this lifestyle is finding people out here that are more like me than I ever expected. I expected van life to be all outgoing, all outdoors all the time, like hiking, climbing, doing everything outdoors, nothing inside. And I know for a fact I'm slightly a homebody, so having like my space, being able to like go out do that and then come hang out in the van and just chill for a day, that was exactly what I needed. And there's so many more people like that than I expected. I've hung out with a bunch of friends in here the whole day before, in their vans the whole day before. Some people, like every single person here has some kind of streaming subscription and we'll spend a day watching it. That was probably the biggest thing I realized, was just that not everyone spends 24/7 outdoors like all of the influencers make you think they do. And that was very, very refreshing as someone who genuinely likes to hang out inside. So moving to the back of the van now, we can talk about the Murphy bed. It's one of the key things that just brings the whole thing together and makes it as multifunctional as possible. I really wanted something that could fold down over the countertop, so it saves as much space, I can use as much space. When designing this, I really wanted something that could go up and down in less than 30 seconds. I've stayed in the table that converts into a bed, and it just stayed a bed the whole time, so having this go up and down really quick was really key to me. So this just folds down right over the counter, bed folds down and comes out, and pillows and blankets are just right in there. In the morning, it takes less than 30 seconds to bring back up. I just have this handle right here on a pulley system, pulls that up, pushes that over, and then it folds back up. Below the Murphy bed sits the brains of the operation, the power of it, everything that keeps this fan running. Right behind this panel is my electrical system, fully custom designed, have never done anything like this before in my life, but I decided to go big with it. So the power of this is 2 batteries that I got salvaged from a Tesla Model S, so that gives me just about 1,000 amp hours of lithium power. Connected to that is 3 ways of charging, the typical solar of 750 watts. I have the alternator charger, and I also have a shore power and inverter combo. Yeah, most of the products you see here are from Victron. The biggest downside to using Tesla battery modules is if they die, you can't revive them. So it's just a big waste of money if they completely die. So I have a couple fail-safes in place so that doesn't happen. And then if Teslas overcharge and light on fire, the fire is too hot for the fire department to put out, so they just let it burn. So I have 2 fail-safes so that it doesn't undercharge, and I have about 3 fail-safes so it doesn't overcharge, just to make the system as safe as possible. Other than those weird caveats, this thing has been a dream. The whole system is mostly 24 volt with some 12 volt converters in there, as well as my 120 volt AC inverter. It is a 3000 watt inverter charger. In my control panel is the shunt, so that's for my battery monitor. And then this one's actually a bunch of little shunts. This module right here, which also connects to my battery monitor, has 4 shunts, as well as 4 analog monitors. So the 4 shunts just tell me what is pulling the most power out of the 4 things I put in there, and the analog monitors can tell me how much water I have left in my tank, or propane. If I ever went that route, I can put a monitor on that as well. Another benefit of the Tesla battery modules is their form factor. So I have 2 sitting right up here at the top, separated by a heating pad. The batteries are about 2.5 inches tall by 24 inches long by 15 inches deep. So they're a really strange form factor that you can just stack them right on top of each other and be completely safe without having these massive batteries that take up this whole section. That was just really killer and space saving. All of that connects to, so my batteries connect to 2 bus bars, which connects to 2 inline fuses, as well as my fuse box, inverter and charger, and my solar panels on the roof. So over here is just my master power control system. I have my WeBoost right over here for just extra signal. Right next to that is my Verizon Hotspot, and I thankfully got the old 4G Verizon grandfathered program, so I can use as many gigs as I want, and it never throttles or never slows down. Right next to that is my carbon monoxide sensor, so super convenient to have. Webasto heater is right below that. My inverter switch, a lot of people always have it on, but it just kills your power. And then right next to it is called the Simarine Pico. It's my battery monitor. It also doubles as, I can check my battery status, I can check what's pulling the most power. It can also check how much water I have left. So I have 46% or 13.9 gallons left of water. and all of that without ever actually having to open up panels and looking at the system. With the back doors open, there is a lot more storage that you can actually access from the back. On the actual doors, I never really saw people use their doors for storage. So that was one of the key things that I wanted to do. So on the roof back above me, I can get up there with my telescoping ladder. I have an axe at the bottom as well as my hammock. And on this door, I couldn't fit my boosted board, so I actually cut in little sections so that I could fit the boosted board in there. So whenever I need to go into town, I can just take that out and go. Instead of taking down camp and running into town, I can just use that, as well as the medicine cabinets that you saw before. Down here is just some more extra storage. So as soon as I got a Corgi, I knew that I needed a vacuum. So the Dyson has been incredible for that. Right by there is my hiking gear. So I have the trekking poles and my hydro flask and anything I need for that. On this side, I have a scale, a little bit more electrical stuff, my hose is back there, and then just a box for some extra shoes. I didn't realize how many outdoor sports I would get into until I didn't have the space for them. So going into that, having the Murphy bed instead of the garage space, I decided to build a custom roof rack that holds my inflatable paddleboard, it holds winter gear, it holds my skydiving gear. Anything that I need that I don't need every single day goes up there. It's very convenient to have. It is on struts so that even though there's a solar panel and deck up there, it can basically open by itself, so I don't have to struggle up on the ladder. I have light bars in the front and the back, so that it's just helpful for parking at night on back dirt roads or wherever I need to go. Before I did mention the shower. So the shower situation is just this right here. It's just a shower hose connected to the faucet, and this can just hook right onto my mirrors and attach, and I can take a shower with that right there. One thing I've been trying to get into, I call myself a wannabe climber. I'm not very good at it, but I do have this hangboard right here. So there's never a good spot to put it. So I welded some brackets on the back of it so that I can put them right up there and hang on that and then put it away when I don't need it, instead of having it there all the time, hitting my head on it. One of the weirdest things about my van is one of the ways that I can lock and unlock it. So I can unlock and lock my van with an RFID chip in my hand. So all I have to do is scan under there and wait for it to beep, and then press a button, and the van is locked. Then I can scan it again, press a button, and the van unlocks. When all of our friends are going hiking and rafting and everyone's like, hey, let's go hide our keys, I can just head to the trailhead or start getting my gear ready and just heading out. Super convenient. Definitely a weird thing to have. I've seen it done on houses and stuff like that, but being able to build it into the locking mechanism of the van through the mirror is it's very helpful. So there are 3 buttons under here, but nothing happens to them unless you scan the correct RFID chip, which is the only one in my hand. So if anyone came under here and started playing with the buttons, nothing would happen until I was actually there to scan it and then let it open up. What makes all this even weirder is the place you buy these chips is called dangerousthings.com. And as soon as I tell people that, they're like, this is just not real anymore. So I tried to leave that to the end. But yeah, it's definitely kind of a weird thing, but also super convenient for me and kind of a cool conversation piece to anyone who actually wants to check out the van. If anyone's really looking into getting into van life, one of the biggest things I can say is van life is exactly what you want it to be. It's not defined by the social media like content creators. If you want to hang out in Walmart parking lots for the rest of your life, go for it. If you never want to touch one in your life, I have been on the road for 1.5 years and I've never stayed in a commercial parking lot. Van life is honestly one of the most freeing things I've ever done because there are so many things you can do with it. You have no real massive bills. It's very easy to get into, a little harder to get out of. But there's such a lack of judgment between people who live in vans that you are just accepted no matter what you do, whether you are introverted, extroverted, weird, nerdy like me. Like, you can make van life exactly what you want it to be. And yeah, it does take a little bit of work, but what doesn't? It is probably one of the best lifestyles you can ever get into.